Rule 1 of galactic survival, the old war veteran said to the young recruits, is simple. You can fight the crystalline hives, you can battle the void hunters, you can even challenge the machine collective. But you never ever fight the humans. Not if you want to keep existing. The recruits laughed. They wouldn't be laughing for long. Master Sergeant Grex Thor had fought in every major galactic conflict for the past 2 centuries. His scarred carapace told stories of battles against creatures that ate stars for breakfast and civilizations that could fold space like origami. He had earned his stripes fighting enemies that most species couldn't even comprehend, let alone defeat. But when he spoke about humans, his voice carried a reverence usually reserved for cosmic forces beyond understanding. The Galactic Military Academy's newest class of officer candidates sat in the ancient amphitheater, their various species represented by scales, fur, chitin, and crystalline formations. They had come from across the galaxy to learn warfare from the best, and Grex Thor was a legend. You think I'm being dramatic? Grex Thor continued, noting the skeptical expressions on several faces. Humans look harmless. Average size, no natural weapons, relatively short lifespans. They barely qualify as a spacefaring species by galactic standards. Cadet Vexnari, a proud warrior from the conquest-hungry hegemony, raised a tentacle. Sergeant, with respect, humans have been members of the Galactic Council for barely 50 years. What could they possibly have done to earn such caution? Grex Thor's laugh was bitter. Cadet, let me tell you about the Rex incident. The amphitheater grew quiet. Even the most arrogant young warriors had heard whispers of the Rex incident, though the details were classified at levels most would never reach. 3 years ago, Grex Thor began. The Rex Empire decided that humanity's industrial worlds would make nice additions to their territory. The Rex, as you know, are not small-scale thinkers. When they want something, they take entire star systems. The Rex Empire had been one of the galaxy's major powers, controlling over 200 star systems through a combination of advanced technology and ruthless military doctrine. Their fleets could reduce planets to asteroid fields in minutes. The Rex sent a diplomatic ultimatum to Earth. Grex Thor continued. Surrender 12 industrial colonies within 72 hours, or face total annihilation. Standard conquest protocol. It had worked on 400 other species. Cadet Ziklos, whose species had fallen to the Rex decades earlier, shifted uncomfortably. What did the humans respond? 2 words, Grex Thor said. Try it. The human response had been delivered by a middle-aged woman in a simple business suit. No threats, no grand speeches, no display of military might. Just 2 words delivered with the casual confidence of someone discussing the weather. The Rex thought it was a joke, Grex Thor explained. Humans had maybe 30 operational warships at the time. The Rex invasion fleet numbered in the thousands. The mathematics seemed clear. But the Rex had made the same mistake that countless other species would make over the following years. They had confused human limitations with human capabilities. The invasion began exactly 72 hours later, Grex Thor said. 5,000 the Rex dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace around Earth's primary colony world, New Geneva. They expected to find terrified civilians and token resistance. Instead, they found empty space. Every human in the system had vanished, Grex Thor continued. 12 billion people just gone. No ships leaving the system, no distress signals, no explanation. The Rex scanned everything, planets, moons, asteroid belts. Nothing. Admiral Corthex, commanding the Rex fleet, had been an experienced warrior who had conquered 40 star systems. But he had never encountered anything like this. Populations didn't simply disappear. There were always traces, always some sign of where they had gone. Then the colonies started exploding, Grex Thor said quietly. The detonations weren't random. Each industrial facility, each mining station, each orbital platform erupted in perfectly timed sequence. Not destroyed by external attack, but self-destructed with precision that spoke of decades of planning. 12 billion people had evacuated an entire star system in 72 hours, Grex Thor explained. And they'd booby-trap everything they left behind. Every building, every piece of infrastructure, every asteroid mining rig. The humans had turned their own colony into a weapon. But that was just the beginning. The Rex tried to pursue, Grex Thor continued. They tracked the evacuation fleet toward human space. What they found was the stuff of nightmares. The humans hadn't just evacuated their colonies. They had evacuated them strategically, leading the Rex fleet along carefully planned routes through systems that appeared empty but were actually elaborately prepared killing fields. Humans had been planning for this war before the Rex even knew humans existed, Thor said. They'd spent decades studying every major galactic power, learning their tactics, their technology, their weaknesses. When the Rex invaded, humanity didn't react. They executed. The Rex found themselves facing an enemy that fought unlike anything in their experience. Human ships weren't more advanced, but they were used in ways that defied military logic. Cargo vessels became suicide bombers. Medical ships carried experimental weapons. Even escape pods were weaponized. The humans used the Therex's own strength against them, Thor explained. Every Rex tactic, every strategic doctrine, every technological advantage, the humans had prepared counters for all of it. The war that the Rex expected to last days stretched into months. Every victory they achieved turned out to be a trap. Every strategic position they captured became a liability. The humans fought with a coordination that suggested they were operating from a single, unified plan that had been decades in the making. But the real horror, Thor said, wasn't the military strategy. It was the psychology. The humans had done something that no other species had ever attempted. They had studied the Rex not just as enemies, but as individuals. Every Rex commander, every ship captain, every strategic decision-maker had been researched, analyzed, and profiled. The humans knew how each Rex officer would react to specific situations, Thor explained. They could predict battle plans before they were written. They knew which commanders were aggressive, which were cautious, which could be goaded into making mistakes. The psychological warfare was devastating. Human ships would broadcast personal messages to specific Rex officers, referencing their families, their histories, their fears. They would surrender positions at exactly the moments that would cause maximum confusion in the Rex command structure. By the 6th month, the Rex officers were requesting transfers rather than face human fleets, Thor said. Warriors who had never known defeat were suffering psychological breaks from fighting an enemy that seemed to know them better than they knew themselves. The final blow came when the humans revealed the true scope of their preparation. The evacuated colonies hadn't been abandoned, they had been bait. While the Rex were focused on pursuing the human fleets, small human ships had been infiltrating the Rex space. Every major Rex military installation, every command center, every industrial facility, Thor said. The humans had been inside all of them for months. Not attacking, just watching, learning, preparing. When the humans finally struck at the heart of the Rex Empire, they did so with surgical precision. Not planet killers or superweapons, but targeted strikes that crippled the Rex ability to coordinate their military response. The Rex Empire collapsed in 3 days, Thor said. Not conquered, not destroyed. Collapsed. Their entire civilization simply stopped functioning because the humans had removed exactly the right components at exactly the right moments. The aftermath was perhaps more terrifying than the war itself. The humans didn't occupy the Rex territory or enslave the population. They simply left. The Rex were free to rebuild their civilization with one understanding: they would never again threaten human interests. That's when the galaxy learned the first rule about humans, Thor said. They don't fight wars to win territory or resources. They fight wars to prevent future wars. The Rex survivors became some of humanity's strongest advocates in galactic politics. Not from gratitude, but from a profound understanding of what they had faced. The Rex admiral I knew personally told me something after the war, Thor said. He said, "We thought we were fighting soldiers. We were fighting evolution itself." Every human carried the accumulated survival instincts of a species that spent millions of years as both predator and prey. They don't just fight to win. They fight to ensure their enemies can never threaten them again. The young recruits in the amphitheater had stopped laughing. Several species that had been considering expansion toward human space suddenly found other priorities. So remember this, Thor concluded. Humans may look harmless. They may seem primitive. They may appear vulnerable. But they are the result of 4 billion years of evolution on a planet where everything was trying to kill everything else. They are survivors who learned to think and thinkers who never forgot how to survive. Cadet Vexnari raised a tentacle again, more respectfully this time. "Sergeant, what should we do if we ever find ourselves in conflict with humans?" Thor's answer was immediate and unwavering: surrender quickly, negotiate honestly, and pray they're in a forgiving mood. The final lesson was written on the Academy's central monument the next day, carved in every major galactic language: humans don't just fight wars. They solve them permanently.